All right. Hi, everybody. My name is E or Foster, whatever you want to call me. Um, and I thought I'd make this video. Some of you have been asking specifically about episode 98, which was the pool episode, to kind of walk through what I did, kind of the behind the scenes of the choices that I made, let's say that. Um, so I thought I'd show you guys the project. So this is the edit that I did, 6 minutes 42 seconds. Um, People that know Adobe Premiere can already see that most of the stuff that I've loaded in here is not actually synced up. Um, this is because I did like a mixture of recordings with both my regular microphone, my 3DO microphone, some sound effects as well, specifically here, and that project got really big and really clunky. So as soon as it was done, I kind of untethered most of the sound effects and I deleted some audios, which causes this to effectively be like a blank project. But I did load in the audio um, of the exported audio that I did. So this kind of makes sure that we can actually listen to what I did here. Um, so creatively, first of all, let's maybe talk a bit about the vision. I always wanted to kind of do like something with water. I think that water is a very grateful thing to work with. And so, yeah, I think water, the reason why it works so well in audio is because it's a very typical sound. Everyone understands, recognizes the sound of water. And so that's what I wanted to go with. And I kind of built most of the final episodes of this season around that concept of listener falling into the pool and kind of having this sort of out of body experience. Um, I always knew that I wanted it to be very trippy, which is why I also used like it was a very huge break from what I was used to producing, as in just standard audio. This was very much edited, as you can see. Um, so yeah, let's just kind of go through it, and I'll explain more along the way. So first of all, we start off in like the kind of the stasis of like when we've just fallen into the pool, and it's like a very peaceful and serene kind of moment. In the very distance, we can hear "We'll Meet Again" by Verlin, and that thing, which you can also like, you can see it here. Obviously, I can't solo it because the sound effect is gone, but there's like a water drop theme, which I'm sure you guys have probably noticed because sometimes it got way more prevalent than others. But you can see that like the entire first part of that, the dialogue and everything, you can hear the drop of water underneath that, which I kind of wanted to do to symbolize, let's say, like a heartbeat, um, like a clock also, like something that's like continuous, rhythmic, that kind of always something nagging in the back of the scene. Um, yeah, let's see. And then I picked some of the audios that I did later with the 3DO. I did some like random, um, I want to say like improv style of like, wake up, everything's fine, wake up. And I picked some of those and actually reversed them, which is what you can see here, the green part, which was just a few of those tracks just reversed. So it kind of has that trippy, supernatural feel. You can hear them right about now. Like that.
There are two doors.
I originally wanted there to be like a splash sound effect after there are two doors, but I decided to let that go in favor of like actually waking up, so to speak. Um, and I still remember that I live premiered this episode, so a lot of people were actually responding live to it, And a lot of people thought that this was the part where we wake up from like the dream that we had, which is obviously what I played on. Um, yeah, these are some cloth sounds,
Baby,
so you can hear the water
come back
drop
to bed.
behind it.
What are you doing?
Yeah. I'm gonna skip ahead a little
Yeah.
bit, but obviously, story-wise, I just wanted to have that beat of like, oh, was it all a dream? But obviously, this is kind of part of the fantasy of listener in that moment to be like, I wish I was just in bed with Fazza right now and not dealing with this. And then we have a big chunk of dialogue
I go for Christmas, okay.
where I had track 3 and 4, as you can see, is my stereo recording with a 3DO because I did this entire part, this entire talk, I did both on the 3DO and my regular microphone at the same time because I kind of wanted like a bit of a trippy effect to kind of alternate sometimes between like a mono track and then a stereo track kind of panned out left or right. It didn't really pan out that way, pun intended, but I don't really remember what I did in terms of balancing this, but I'm pretty sure I just like made all of them play consecutively to kind of have that fuller sound than just this straightforward mono microphone. So then, we have this talk of like, it's all just a dream, you're being stupid.
What do you mean, why?
And then there's a trigger. I have to shoot, I think.
I have to get up early to shoot.
Shoot. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Shoot. Don't shoot. Which I just thought was a pretty, like, funny thing. Obviously, shooting film and then the whole gun sequence with Lena. I'll be honest, like, the day that I started recording this, I had no idea where this was about to end. I've talked about it before. I don't script my stuff. I didn't script this. I basically just went to my like recording booth. I got my microphones and I was like, I'm just gonna try stuff. And I spent about 2 hours just trying out several things. I was literally just like holding my 3DO and kind of whispering to it left or right, a left or right. And with all of that material that I had used, that's just where I got to like my editing software, and I was like, okay, now it's my turn to make something coherent of it. And this whole thing was a process of trial and error that lasted a couple of hours. I always knew I kind of wanted to have like parts to it. So obviously we got the start here, and then we have like the sequence of like go back to bed, and then we have the plunge and like the whole talking thing. So I knew that I had like specific kind of chapters of it, but I didn't really know where I wanted it to end, let's say. But I did want, as soon as like the dream sequence started of like, baby, you just had a nightmare, very meta, then I wanted to have these little like twinges of like, ooh, something's wrong. And that's where the shoot, don't shoot kind of came in, panned left to right, because I recorded that part on the 3DO.
Get up early to shoot.
So left, right, left, right.
Wow.
I also didn't want it to be like shoot in the left ear, don't shoot in the right ear. I wanted it to be very like disorienting and just very trippy all around. Because this is the first time that we actually hear the stereo aspect of it. Okay, move on. Still hear the water drop.
I feel like you're floating.
Floating. Because obviously, the floating of the water. And then we go to splash. I've kind of wanted it to have this certain, I'm going to say Splash Mountain, but just like a general, like a water attraction that has like a splashdown. I kind of wanted it to feel like that, where we kind of built up to something up here, and then it kind of escalated to this plunge effect into this new scene. And this new scene is very different because I have like the ambiance underwater of it. I kind of wanted it to feel like this sort of underwater cave vibe, which is also why the We'll Meet Again is very how should I put it? Like very reverby, very echoey, because it sounds like it's a very big space. And also the dialogue that I did here is also very like spaced out and reverbed out, um, to give it like a very different feel from what this sequence here was, which was very close, very intimate.
Oh, there you are. Hi, baby. You made it.
Okay, I don't. I think I pretty much subverted my own theory there because it's not as spaced out as I thought it would be. But at least like the ambiance and like the "we'll meet again" is very distant. Um, Actually, before I get into this whole sequence, maybe let's talk about "we'll meet again" and why I picked that one specifically. Um, well, I think for starters, it's a very bittersweet kind of song. Obviously, the title is very, very obvious too. But it's kind of like the thing of, you send someone off, you don't know what's going to happen, but there is this hope that, there's going to be a point where we meet again. And I specifically chose this version of the song because the original version, or the most famous version at least, um, has the pre-chorus reversed, and now I gotta think about what I'm saying. So the version that I use here is, so I will just say hello to the folks that you know, tell them you won't be long. But in the original, more famous version, it's actually the reverse. And you will just say hello to the folks that I know, tell them I won't be long. Um, I chose this one obviously because I feel like it's the more bittersweet version. Um, I like it a lot. I like that song. It gives a very haunting feel, especially when you add some reverb to it, especially when you get that whole like um, kind of like a creepy vibe as well to it. Um, so yeah, I was very pleased with how that turned out. Anyway, let's move into this sequence. So the third
Oh, there
sequence,
you are.
this is me as Foster talking to a listener, but what I felt at that moment is it's not Foster that is talking, it's just the manifestation of Foster. But I do believe that, or at least the reasoning I put behind it personally, was that this is kind of like, let's say, like an angel or like some otherworldly figure talking to a listener, being like, you have a choice to make here. You can, and I think the analogy that is used here is like, you can sink or you can swim. There are two doors, as in you get to decide what happens next. You have unfinished business. You can decide to give up here and just drown, or you can decide to try again. And it's manifested by Foster's voice, obviously, because otherwise, well, for starters, I would be out of a job. Um, but I also think that, I wanted it to sound very familiar. But I also wanted there to be a certain type of way that you, as the listener watching the video, could know that there is actually a difference between the Foster we know and and this entity, so to speak.
Hi, baby.
I wanted it to be a bit more breathy,
You made it.
a bit lighter.
Where am I?
Where are you? Where am I?
Does it matter?
Because we have these whispers every now and then that kind of also kind of tease
There's
that
nothing anyone
something's
could do.
not really right. Oh, also here, this was kind of a bit of a, also like a difference that I did on purpose, because the track one,
That's a
so as you see here, is what I used my standard microphone for, and then track three was, I think, the 3DO that I used. So you could use you hear like a bit of a difference in audio quality between those two, which also gives it like that little twinge of, oh, something's not right. And you're constantly on your toes because you don't really know what's gonna happen next. Then we have the sequence of like whispers. So obviously, at this point, you think as a listener like, oh, um, we have like, we were saved, and this is just like hallucinations, or this is like things that listener hears from above the surface or something. To me, it's basically just hallucinations and like things that she wants or they want to be true, but turns out not to, just be a figment of her imagination.
I don't remember anything. Foster, are you okay? I could have done so much more.
That's the thing. This line got me personally the most because I was very on the fence of whether I wanted to let it in or not.
I could have done so much more.
Because this kind of is like a two-way street in the sense that if you believe that Foster is a person that is talking here, Foster obviously, if you believe that it's Foster that is talking here, then you can say that Foster died in the exchange with Lena, and kind of Foster is lamenting that listener, is on the brink of death too, and is like, you have a choice to make. I couldn't save you. I could have done more, as in I could have saved you, but I didn't. That's not the theory I went with personally. I kind of feel like this is death, which is also why, to me, the project is called Elle Dies, because it's like a purgatory. And I think that in that sense, to me, this is kind of death lamenting that nobody died, basically. As in, I could have done so much more, as in Foster could have died, Lena could have died, Listener could have died, but none of them actually did.
Could have done so much more.
I saw you go. I love that song. It's been a while since I've heard the episode too.
The choice is yours, if you want it. There's two doors.
I love that little like two doors thing, because it's two people talking at once, two doors, one like a bit lower. Yeah. Not me being like, oh, this is so good. It's been a while since I personally saw this project as well.
There's no right or wrong answer here.
Just skip ahead a little bit.
1, 2. It's kind of simple, really. I'm sorry.
I also wanted to play a lot with the pauses here, because the pauses with like just the ambiance and like the track underneath it is also very grateful to work with.
I'm sorry, babe. I'm so sorry. I tried so hard. I couldn't do it.
I wish, again, if I had previously written a script before I started doing this, I could have explained to you right now in big detail why I picked certain things or why I did certain things. This was honestly just me improvising and kind of experimenting with that 3DO sound and picking some of those little nitbits that I did and putting them left, right, panning them out and putting them in. So I can't really explain 100% why certain things are the way they are, but I believe that the trust the process is very much like a very valuable thing in art creation. So
do you feel like you are to blame for what happened here? Thing.
Yeah.
I'd say you are quite the hero of this story.
The hero of the story.
Which door do you choose? Are you gonna sink? Swim.
And then I didn't cut them up like I did here, but I remembered I had done sink, and I just took the entire thing of it. Because I didn't want it to match up perfectly left and right. I didn't want to alternate. I just wanted to sound like chaos. And then obviously underneath it, you can see the line of the drips. And that also spaced out in the sense that I wanted, obviously, once again, you can see it both ways. You can see it as the heartbeat that kind of slows down, so you can see listener actually dying, or you can see it as the clock that is kind of ticking throughout the sequence, that internal clock of what is happening in their brain kind of slows down to move back to the real world. I think you can see that in both ways. And then the song ends, and then there's a long kind of silence where we're like, what happened? Which choice did we make? And then we end with the humming in the distance, which I thought personally, that's my favorite part of the entire episode, just because it's very haunting. It feels like if you believe that it's Foster, it's very haunting, but if you believe that it's like an angel of death, just like seeing that listener has actually made the choice to like not die and actually swim up, you have this moment of death being like, we'll meet again soon, Some Sunny Day by Thought I know we'll meet again. It's not entirely on pitch, but we'll ignore that. Some sunny day. I love that. I think that's like a very powerful part. Yeah. Anyway, another splash, because then technically we make the parallel to this, which is right now here, and then we hear above the surface that Foster is actually fighting Lena. We hear several things that should not be part of the fight technically, but it's very hard to audibly set up a fist fight. It's very impossible. So I decided to put some sound effects in there, like garbage and like breaking glass, some debris, which just kind of sets the scene. It's not realistic, but it does set the scene pretty quickly. And then I recorded some walla over that, which was just me going, and then I just chopped that up. We also have like a bit of a ringing in the ears, a bit of underwater, a bit of cave dripping as well, because technically, the orange drips kind of stop, but there's a very subtle drip that continues here, but it's very, very lowly pitched, so you don't really hear it. And then everything fades, and we go to the surfacing. And that fades out too. And there we go. That's the episode. Yeah, I think, to me, I would like to say that I spent a whole lot of time prepping this very meticulously. The answer to that is no. I don't really prep a lot of things meticulously when it comes to this channel, but that's, to me, what makes it very organic and very fresh, that even I don't know what happens next. I've said that a few times before. So if I don't know what happens next, then neither do you guys. This, like I said, I think as soon as I set up the whole, like, we're going to do the plan with Rodriguez and stuff, that's where I kind of started planning out everything up to 100 so that I knew how to end it. And I knew I was going to have to kind of pull out all the stops. This is a very special episode to me. But yeah, this is not the norm, definitely, or the standard of this channel, thankfully, because this actually took a whole lot of time because I didn't prep it. And there was a lot of things that I actually tried to do and ended up scrapping because it wasn't good enough. So this is a 6-minute and 42-second episode that I basically spent an entire day kind of doing. But I really loved it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of talk. I know it's kind of weird for me to explain this because there's like a creative layer to it. There's a technical layer to it. I hope I kind of explained both of those eloquently enough. But if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, leave a comment, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for hanging out.